Arvind Kejriwal versus the Lieutenant Governor, that particular Delhi Ordinance bill is going to be taken up as well. There's a proper number game that's stacked up in favor of the NDA, but what do you think is going to, how do you think it's going to play out rather?
Well, see, of course, the numbers are with them, but there could be a little bit of protest within the Rajya Sabha. How the government is going to push that bill is of key concern. Why I say it's a key concern for a lot of parties is whether the question about the local bureaucracy coming into the hands of the central government, whether it can be allowed or not. Per se, that is why they were looking, if you look at the arguments that are being put forward in the court, per se, it's not wrong for the government to legislate on it, but does the government have the appropriation power is the question that is going to be raised. So that is the kind of battle that we have seen in the court. So right now what the government is doing is of course going with its legislative powers that has been given. Now the question of whether it can appropriate the functioning of Delhi's bureaucracy is the question that is being asked in the courts. So that I think is the battle line that everybody is looking at. And interesting enough, didn't you notice that the first thing is that today it is me, tomorrow it could be all of you. That is the kind of tagline that Kejriwal had put out
which is why Arvind, you've got Pinarayi Vijayan, M.K. Stalin, all these people coming and
supporting him because for them, see, these are non-BJP state rule states. For them, they fear that this could be a possibility tomorrow for them. And Arvind Kejriwal has this uncanny ability to go ahead and make adversity into an opportunity, and he did even get the Congress to come on his side. Remember, just ahead of the opposition meet, you had the statement coming in from the Congress saying that we do support the AAP on that bill, and these are two rivals who have AAP has technically been against the Congress, and they did come on the same platform.
That was one of the prerequisites for Aam Aadmi Party to come to the stage.
That is the kind of politics that we are seeing on this, on the Delhi services bill. But then the government's argument has been that Delhi would have faced paralysis. If administrative paralysis, if they hadn't intervened with the ordinance, and there was a lot of issues that were there, especially when it came to the transfer of officers. Some of them who were crucially looking into some aspects of investigations were also being subject to transfers, what the centre has claimed in the court. So I think it's going to be an interesting battle, but this legislative power of the government, of course, they are going to exercise it. It is in their purview. But will that hold? The courts will decide later on. That is why it was referred to a larger bench of the Constitution, or rather Constitution bench, to decide whether these things are there. But then again, Kabir, when it comes to Delhi, I said, I've been saying that also. We need to define Delhi. What is Delhi? Delhi, is it a complete state? Is it less of a state? Is it we've given it a lot of the national capital region or the national capital. We've given a lot of names to this particular region. But what is Delhi? Administratively, what is Delhi? Is it a complete state or not? And if it doesn't fall into a bracket, I think it has to be defined in a bracket. You have union territories. There are union territories without legislature. You have union territories with legislature. You have full states with legislature. And this Delhi is somewhere between all this. Some parts of it is limited to the centre's control.
This conundrum is why the government feels safe to say that this is going to paralyze the administration. So that's why we have to intervene.
This conundrum, as we are talking about when it comes to Delhi, this conundrum is going to be difficult to understand, because you have 7 MP seats in Delhi complete in its entirety. So it does elect 7 MPs, larger than some of the northeastern states. So Delhi has enough and more population than the northeastern states to put out 7 MPs. Some of the northeastern states have only 1 or 2 MPs, MP seats. So, and they are states, mind you, they are full-fledged states, but Delhi is not a full-fledged state. Okay, and this issue has to be, and probably what we are going to see in these legal debates that are going to happen, or when the Delhi government, when it goes to court, is probably the court actually pinpointing what Delhi is, and how much of Delhi is a state and how much of Delhi has.
So what you're saying is that is the actual problem, not the fact about who's going to control the administration or not.
No, because see, the politics is happening on that limbo where the definition is not clear.
All right.
The politics is happening on that. See, one thing
is there indirect eyeing of who controls Delhi finally? Because before this ordinance was passed, everybody was saying Arvind Kejriwal is finally the boss, because the Supreme Court had intervened and said that, you know what, you got the Chief Minister here for a reason. listen to the chief minister.
So
The governor has to listen to the council of ministers, the head of the council of ministers.
But the governor is also, the governor's position over here has been mostly like trying to behave more like a union territory without a legislature as well, where he tends to be trying to override the decisions of the chief minister as well as the council of ministers. So that debate has also been going on. So that is why I think legally now it is high time that we define Delhi. And I don't know what creature it is, because I think we need to have a new nomenclature for it, because it's not a union territory, it's not a full-fledged state, it is not a complete state, so it has to have some kind of a new nomenclature. National capital, something should be
region.
Region.
They say National Capital Area.
NCR.
That's not going to work anymore, essentially, right?
Yeah, because that again, see, NCR again has got broader perspectives. It has Noida as part of it, it's got Gurugram as part of it, so it's got other areas as part of it. So it only defines as a region, but administratively, we have to have the clarity on what Delhi is.
And how do you think it's going to play out in the parliament today?
Parliament, of course, you're going to have a lot of noises from I.N.D.I.A. because they had pledged their support on this.
You don't call the alliance India, do you?
See, it's when I call India, for me, the idea is always about the country of India. When I say India, and I like the name India also, but when it comes to a political formation, when I say like India has done this, I mean, or India is going to fight in the parliament.
For somebody who doesn't know.
No, yeah, it's going to be very difficult to this thing. That's why I clearly make it, it's a political grouping. That's why I say I.N.D.I.A. I have to spell it out, but it's discomfortable, but I still say I.N.D.I.A.
Did you say between journalists, do you think it's more ethical to be calling it I.N.D.I.A. than India?
I think it is more ethical to be calling it as I.N.D.I.A. rather than India, because India is a country. I think you can't just appropriate a country's entire political thing.
Well, I've been saying it wrong all this while. So the
I mean, it's my opinion, Kabir.
I.N.D.I.A. No, I do agree.
This is my opinion.
So the I.N.D.I.A. alliance is back from Manipur, those members of parliament. There's going to be a proper number game inside the parliament when we're looking at the Delhi Ordinance Bill as well.